What you are most afraid of. There are many things that people seem to be afraid of, and the typical ones are things like pain or being hurt by something or someone, fear of the unknown, fear of failure. These fears of failure are postmodern fears. They're mostly found in areas of work, professional, career building, things that humans aspire towards making. A typical caveman would not have had a fear of failure, of career failing, because he didn't have a career. The caveman didn't fear the animals as much as we do today because he knew the animal nature a lot better. The caveman was closer to being an animal than we are. But ultimately, there are other types of fear that underpin those other fears I just mentioned. And the fears that underpin those other fears are things like fear of death, which is the ultimate unknown. Nobody really knows what happens when we die. No matter how many people will tell you what happens when we die, they don't know because they haven't really been there. The people who've had a sort of death or an ego death or things like that, they've had ego deaths. They haven't had a death of the body because the dead man does not speak, does not give a trip report. The fear of death is actually underpinned by another bigger fear. And of course, the fear of failure is coupled with fear of success. Many people are afraid of success more than failure because failure and success are two sides of the same coin. One of the reasons why so many people keep failing is because they're afraid of success more. So they keep delivering failure as a successful delivery of something that they're not as afraid of as they are of success. But the ultimate fear that you have is the fear of yourself, facing yourself fully and getting to know who you really are deep down. When you strip off all of the layers of identity and memory and all that stuff. The reason why you're afraid of yourself is because once you really go deep and strip off all your layers, is that you realize that you are nothing. And in that nothingness, there is only you. And you're afraid of being the only guy that exists, the only being that exists in the universe. It's fear of loneliness, is fear of complete and utter surrender, and it's the fear of complete and utter being one with everything and being able to know everything instinctively and intuitively, and then really having to decide what now, what next. And the people who've gone through that journey, through that actual self-realization, through that peeling of the layers of the onion and getting to the core essence of who they are, which is their nothingness, which is being one with everything, aloneness, and who have managed to survive being alone, completely alone. I'm talking about loneliness where nothing else exists. You don't exist as you think of yourself right now. You don't exist, but there's still oneness. And the people who've been there and who've then come back into the marketplace are the people who are able to live life of full purpose and create and leave a legacy way beyond their death, because they actually start realizing that the idea of death is more like a joke, that the only thing that ever dies is the ego, and that reality, oneness, everythingness, isness can never die. If we're able to operate from that space, we're able to create anything we put our minds to. So if you're interested in facing your ultimate fears and coming back to tell the story, reach out to me and let's talk about Fresh Mind program, or check it out on freshminds.life.